Hello, Ryan here, and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday. This is a weekly show which covers all of the news from the week just past. Be sure to subscribe if you like what you see, and let's get on with it. This week, we take a look at the new EVA system and personal interaction system, plus we hear the massive list of features that are planned to release in Alpha 3.23, being the first patch of the year. So the first episode of Inside Star Citizen aired this Thursday, kicking off with Jared mentioning that the return of many Squadron 42 specific developers are now coming over to the persistent universe, all of which are now working to add their features done for Squadron into the PU, alongside the work of the current Star Citizen persistent universe devs, as we will hear about on Star Citizen Live in a moment. Now, the first feature that they spoke about that is coming with 3.23 is the new EVA system, and this system sets the player in a prone pose, so moving head first with their arms by their sides. That allows for much better traversal through tighter spaces as you take up much less space. And as you look around, your camera and head moves and rotates with your body rolling over itself, which is a much more streamlined silhouette, a smaller footprint, and allows you to navigate so much better and just looks way cooler. Now, this also supports the ability to use a weapon, turning on the roll axis much quicker and able to shoot from any angle. Also, transitioning from EVA into a spaceship or onto a landing pad or whatever has been heavily smoothed out, so we won't be face planting every time, although that is still possible. Now, another major change is that EVA will be decoupled, meaning that if you press the button to go forwards and then release it, your character will keep moving in that direction until you input a new direction, or put the brakes on, which firstly means that you won't have to always hold down the button, but also when the EVA jets have finite fuel, which isn't happening for 3.23, that is coming later on, it will allow you to conserve fuel. It will also make it so much more realistic as well, and I am very happy about this new change. I'm sure it will take a bit of time to get used to, but it is a great addition. Now, coming at a later date is the zero-G push and pull system, which allows players to use objects in the environment to push and pull off of, moving themselves along, which will be very handy when we do eventually have finite fuel, or if we don't have EVA jets attached. And as they mentioned, it'll look even better when it is done, coming in for 3.23, as there is a little bit more work they want to do for it. Now, personally, this is one of the best quality of life updates that we have been needing for a while, and not only does it make life easier, it looks and functions very impressively, and I'm so glad that they're bringing it out now, rather than waiting for this push-pull feature to be ready, as it's very useful now, and we could definitely use this system to get rid of what we currently use. Now, next up, they spoke about the new player interaction system and experience. Again, a major quality of life improvement that will impact everybody in every area of the game. Now, this is an all-encompassing system for how players interact with basically everything that we have, and right now it is a pain in the ass, so this new system cleans up how we interact with things, as well as provide much more improvement and optimizations for how things work. Like the new interaction prompt, which shows you which item you'll be interacting with when you press F, and as much as this interaction prompt does look way better, a lot cleaner, and it looks like it functions a lot more smoothly as well, it sounds like it might be on permanently, which I'm not a fan of. I really hope that there's a way for this to go away or turn off until we want to actively interact with something, rather than it just being permanently on the screen, hovering over every single option, as much as they say it's not annoying, it is very immersion breaking in my opinion when I want to take a screenshot, or just look at something and appreciate the visuals. Anyway, hopefully we will see a bit of an update there, or they may already have a way of dealing with that. But the new F prompt not only tells you what you can interact with, it also lets you know how you will be interacting with that item, be that carry, inspect, store, and so on, which is handled and customized via the personal interaction wheel. Now, this gives you a new radial menu that allows you to select what you want to do without accidentally selecting the wrong one. They did say that it locks your screen so that you can't make a mistake like the old system, but from what I can tell, if you let go of F, you will no longer be locked in and can just carry on as normal. So if someone is about to shoot you, you can just let go of the F button and get out of there. Now, this wheel also gives you the option to bind default actions for each item type, like storing a harvestable immediately, like a mined gem or a piece of fruit, rather than inspecting it or carrying it, maybe equipping a weapon rather than carrying the weapon. And something else to point out is it looks like they have overhauled the UI for the weapon attachments, as we can see here with a handgun, offering you the optics, barrel or underbarrel attachments with a refresh of the UI. But not only that, something they have been working on, I don't know if this is coming with 323, but it is how your character's hands will reach out and attach or detach every single attachment for your weapon. Again, there's no confirmation if this is coming for 323, it looks like it might be, as we can see here with the silencer. And it also gives you the choice for binding a primary and secondary input as well, which is a really great idea. So if you tap F, you will do the primary action. If you double tap it, it will do the secondary action. So a really nice touch, and I feel like that will come in handy quite a bit. As they mention, the tech looks to really optimize which items players are wanting to interact with, helping you interact with the exact item that you are looking at, rather than messing around trying to pick the right one on the floor and so on. And it does look like it is vastly improved that. So a great set of quality of life improvements to kick the quarter off that will really change how we interact and traverse around in the verse. Really excited to see these come into the verse for 323. But let us get to Star Citizen Live. It is not to be missed. Now, Star Citizen Live this week was probably the best episode we have had to date, as it was basically highlighting a lot of what Cloud Imperium are aiming to release in Alpha 323, which firstly doesn't mean they are promising everything, but they are targeting all of these features to release in the first quarter patch, which as it stands right now, the first quarter patch is generally around the end of March. Of course, as we have seen in the past, things can change, things can get pushed back, and with so much going on for this patch, it is quite possible that it will take a little longer. Also, Jared did say that there are many features that are not mentioned here, as they want to keep things as a surprise. Things that they want us to discover when we log into the PTU for the first time. One of which I expect are creatures or a creature, but that is just an educated guess, not a confirmation. Now, as this list is pretty huge, and a lot more detail was given on the features and what they are, for this video I will just highlight what features are now planned for 323 and do a much more in-depth look at all of the features in a separate video, so do keep an eye out for that. But with that said, let us run through what features are planned to release in Alpha 323. So as we know from inside Star Citizen, the new EVA system is coming in, but this does not include the push-pull system, so your hands reaching out and pulling yourself along, and contrary to what was said on Inside Star Citizen, fuel for the EVA jets won't be finite in the initial release either, and will come at a later date. Also seen on Inside Star Citizen was the personal interaction system, which is a system that condenses all of the use actions into a more streamlined and visually pleasant method, while also allowing us to customize it to exactly what we want to do with each type of item. The next feature they confirmed aimed for 323 are the distribution centers, which they say are fully on track for releasing in quarter 1, and these are the largest locations planetside outside of the main cities, and act as a main hub of distribution, supporting multiple players at any given time. And to learn more about these centers, do watch my video that I will link below, which speaks about their importance. Also slated to release in 323 is Master Modes, so making ship combat tighter and slower, with a lot of other changes as well. As I'm sure you're aware, this is a very polarizing change, and personally speaking, I love the sound of making combat slower so that we can actually see what is happening. Whether it is too slow or not slow enough, I don't know, and most of the Master Mode changes do sound pretty cool, but until we get the full changes in our hands and give it a thorough test, I am not 100% certain that these changes are good or bad, and as Cloud Imperium always say, they will listen to our feedback on it and adjust it where they see fit. So let's just wait and see how it plays when everything is in play. The version we get in 323 will certainly be tuned and tweaked as we play it, so I'm not ready to say whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, or itemize what I like or dislike. Now also coming in 323 is the new precision targeting mode, which allows us to zoom in on our target and target specific systems, something that I actually really like the look of in Starfield, plus some big changes to weapon gimbals and how they work. Essentially all weapon slots will have gimbals, aside from fixed weapons like the Ares and Idris, and the size restrictions will go away. Now of course this is a big change with a lot of questions to be answered, so an upcoming Inside Star Citizen will talk further about these. As expected, there is a lot of FPS changes coming to 323 with things like the improved scopes and sights, reloading changes like being able to reload from a backpack and repooling your ammo, weapon animations, and the dynamic crosshair, which will only be presented on visors for combat-specific helmets, as they will be working on a lot more variety and trade-offs for each helmet and armor type, supporting each profession or role, more or less depending on what you choose. The new lens and visor HUD is also coming in, which will bring the on-foot compass, hallelujah to that one. I'm only expecting a single new HUD for the visor, as mentioned, with more specific or role-specific HUDs coming later on. The new star map and minimap are also expected for 323, which of course needs no explanation for how amazing this is. The star map will show travel time, and it will have a search function as well. And for the minimap, they will be implementing as many locations as possible, but it won't be all locations on release, and more will roll out as and when they are ready. The new quick loot screen is coming, which will severely help a lot when in the heat of an FPS battle. A new shopping app as well, which we have not seen anything about, and if I can find this old concept image for the Mobiglass, from before the Mobiglass even existed, I think, this shows that they want players to be able to buy things from an app on your Mobiglass rather than having to go to a physical store. So it'll be great to hear more about this app, and although it wasn't mentioned that the new Mobiglass is coming in, I think it is probably safe to say that the new Mobi will be coming in with 323, or the home screen anyway. I have seen files for the Galactopedia as well, so fingers crossed. I think it is quite likely that if the new shopping app is coming in, then the new Mobiglass will be in as well. The new character customizer is also slated for 323, which for some I'm sure they're not too bothered about, but for others, including myself, this is great news. Hopefully we will all become really distinctive and recognizable from one another without the need for even a name above your head, being able to see your friends and recognize them just by their faces, which would be very cool. Now, two features that I did not expect to see at all releasing Q1 are the freight elevators and personal hangars. And for the hangars, these will be instanced to begin with, but it will be your own. You can decorate them as you please. No one else can technically come in there unless you invite them in, and use the hangar to store and call up anything and everything that you own, plus reclaim your cache-bought items when lost. Now, looking at a recent sneak peek on the email, it looks like many of the planetside locations, like outposts, will have these hangars as well. So, massive win there getting the freight elevators, personal hangars. They are going to be phenomenal. The new Blockade Runner event is coming in as well, which I think is what was intended to be the Ninetales lockdown, so it'll be cool to hear more about that one. And Xeno Threat is getting bigger and broader as well, with a lot of updates. Now finally, they brought in members of the economy team to talk about their ongoing work changing up all the prices for things in 323. And we are going to see a big change to many areas for prices, including ships, and these changes are basically to make everything fit from a fiscal standpoint, from weapons, armors, vehicles, and the vehicle prices will change in-game, be that up or down, depending on the vehicle and other variables. For example, manufacturer will impact price, Origin being more expensive than Drake, for example, in its simplest form, but size and role will also impact the prices. Now, just a few examples given, the C8R Pisces will be around 500,000 Alpha UEC, the Arrow will be 2 million, the Constellation will be 10 million, Hammerhead 40 million, and the 890 Jump 70 million. So that was the Star Citizen Live talking about all things coming in Alpha 323. Many of the Inside Star Citizens that follow up will be talking further about these features as they get closer to release, but 323 is a lot bigger than I could have possibly imagined. This is an insane game changer of a patch that will just take the alpha that we have now and make it feel so much more polished and playable. And they haven't even revealed all of the 323 features yet either, so very excited to see this. And if they can get this replication layer separated, hopefully this month, if not next month, before the release of 323 is most likely their intention, then the build will be even more stable. And who knows if the new Vulkan API is ready, as they were just finishing that up, according to the November and December monthly reports, which will bring a whole host of optimizations, stability, and performance improvements as well. 323 is looking like it is going to be the biggest patch we have ever seen, aside from core tech patches, of course. completely changing Star Citizen's persistent universe for the better, and I cannot wait to see it come along over the next 2 months, not to mention what is coming in Quarter 2, Quarter 3, Quarter 4. And during Star Citizen Live, you could visibly see Jared bursting at the seams with excitement. It is going to be a great year for Star Citizen, and I just cannot wait for it all. As mentioned, I will go into more detail about all of the features in a dedicated video, so do keep your eyes out for that if you want to learn more about every feature coming in for 3.23. But that was Star Citizen Live. Let us move on. So let us talk about the patches over the last week, as there has been quite a bit of an update of what's going on. Kicking off with the tech preview channel, since they took down the last replication layer split test, there has been no more tests on this channel. The previous test had both the separated replication layer and the crash recovery system going on. I do expect more of the replication layer tests next week, and hopefully it won't be too long until we start seeing this pushed to a 3.22 build, talking of which there was a new 3.22.1 patch on the PTU for the Evocati, which introduced a new Arena Commander mode as well as some bug fixes and a surprise playtest, it says, which also brought some updates and improvements. So already they are working on another patch for 3.22, being this 0.1, which I was personally expecting, as they did say they will be aiming to release the replication layer split and crash recovery system in a 3.22.x patch, be that 0.1, 0.2. Hopefully this 0.1 patch is what they're targeting for the replication layer, but nothing has been said there. But for Alpha 3.23, so the first quarter patch with all of the big gems in, they did have an Evocati only test for stability. So this was a 3 to 4 hour test, not testing any of the features, just general stability. Now, I have no idea how this went, but it's great to see them getting that build into the Evocati's hands and get them providing the feedback they need to then bring all these features out. So there is a lot going on right now, and I'm sure we will see some more movement throughout this week, and obviously throughout February and March for 3.23 as well. So also this week, the Galactopedia was updated, although it is looking like the in-game Mobiglass Galactopedia app could be coming along sooner than we think, so you'll be able to read all of these articles in-game instead of via the website. They also released a This Month in Star Citizen post, which mentions Siege of Orison, which is going on until February 5th, the Bar Citizen World Tour, which is continuing, with many of the devs heading out to various countries to take part in this. Coromore 2954 is on its way, which is essentially Valentine's Day in the verse, giving players a screenshot contest in which you can win a vehicle. Also, the Red Letter Festival is happening, which is basically a Banu take on the Chinese New Year, in which red envelopes with UEC inside are hidden around the Stanton system. Plus, there is talk of a free fly on the way, so if you are interested in trying Star Citizen for free, keep an eye out for this for more details. Do hold off on creating an account though just yet, as there will be a referral code bonus, so when the free fly is happening, if you use a referral code from another player, you will be given not just a Drake Dragonfly hoverbike each, but a Red Alert armor suit, backpack, undersuit, and shotgun as well. So it is worth hanging on, and if you are on the fence of whether or not you want to play Star Citizen, this is a great time to test it without spending a penny. So that brings us to the end of the show. If you do enjoy my content, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. Also, I am able to do this thanks to my very generous patrons and channel members. If you appreciate what I do and would like to help make it even better from as little as $1 a month, all of the links are provided below.